Listen, compa. I need you to understand something before I tell you this story. There are places in this world that aren't meant for the living. Places that exist in the cracks between what we know and what we pretend doesn't exist. Hotel Destino in Matamoros is one of those places. My sister Rosa worked the night desk there for exactly 3 shifts before she quit. She won't talk about what happened, won't even say the name of the hotel out loud. But she told me once, just once, after too much mezcal and too many nightmares, about room 13. And puta madre, I wish she hadn't. Hotel Destino sits 2 blocks from the border, the kind of place where you pay in cash and nobody asks your real name. Peeling yellow paint, neon sign missing half its letters. The kind of establishment that's been dying slowly since 1987, but refuses to actually die. Rosa needed the money. Her daughter, my sobrina Lupita, needed braces. The bank needed mortgage payments. Life needed to be lived. And life costs money. So when Don Esteban offered her the overnight shift at twice what she was making at the Walgreens, she didn't ask why the turnover was so high. First night was quiet. Too quiet, she said. Just her, the ancient security monitor showing static-filled camera feeds, and the smell of mildew and old cigarettes. The kind of quiet that makes you aware of your own heartbeat, your own breathing, the way your shoes sound on tile that's been waxed too many times over too many years. The hotel had 43 rooms, but there was no room 13. Floor plan went from room 12 to room 14. Not unusual. Lots of buildings skip the unlucky number. But Rosa noticed something else. Between 12 and 14, there was a door. Same faded yellow as the others, same tarnished brass numbers. Except the numbers were gone. Just the outline where they'd been, and 2 screw holes like empty eye sockets. No entres ahí, Don Esteban told her on her first night, his hand shaking as he handed her the master keys. That room, you don't clean it, you don't open it, you don't even look at it too long. ¿Me entiendes? She understood, or thought she did.
Second night, Rosa was alone in the lobby at 2:47 a.m. when the phone rang. Not her cell phone, the old rotary phone at the desk, the one with the yellowed plastic and the cord that curled like a pig's tail, the one Don Esteban said hadn't worked in 15 years. She stared at it. 4 rings. 5. 6. Her hand reached for it before her brain could stop her. "Hotel Destino?" she whispered. Silence. Then breathing. Not heavy, not threatening, just present. Someone on the other end, listening to her, listened to them. "Bueno?" She tried again. "Room 13, said a voice. Man or woman, she couldn't tell. Young or old, impossible to say. The voice sounded like it was coming from the bottom of a well, or maybe from inside a wall. "I need towels." Rosa's mouth went dry. "Lo siento, but there is no room 13. I need towels." The phone went dead. Her hands were shaking. She told herself it was a prank, some pendejo from across the border, bored and cruel. She went back to her magazine, tried to focus on the words, but they swam like fish in murky water. At 3:15 a.m., someone knocked on the front desk. Rosa looked up. The lobby was empty. Knock, knock, knock. It was coming from down the hallway, 2nd floor. She could see the stairwell from where she sat, could see the dim yellow light that never quite reached the corners. Knock, knock, knock. She should have stayed in the lobby. She knows that now. But there's something about a sound in the night that demands investigation. Something in our monkey brains that needs to know what's making the noise, even when every other part of us is screaming to run. Rosa climbed the stairs.
The 2nd floor hallway stretched longer than it should have. Perspective gone wrong, like looking down a tunnel that bent the rules of space. Rooms 12 and 14 sat on either side of the door with no number. The door that was slightly open.
No, Rosa whispered. No, no, no. Esteban locked it. I saw him lock it. But there it was, open maybe 6 inches, just enough to see darkness inside. Not the darkness of a room with the lights off, the darkness of something that had never seen light, that had existed before light was invented. Knock, knock, knock. It came from inside the room. Rosa's flashlight cut through the gap. She saw tile floor, cracked and water-stained, a sink, rust bleeding down its porcelain face, and on the floor, just visible at the edge of her light, wet footprints, leading out of the room, down the hall to where she was standing. She spun around. The hallway was empty, but the footprints were there, bare feet, water, leading right up to her shoes, and then stopping. Dios mío, she breathed. Room 13, said a voice behind her. Rosa turned so fast she almost fell. There was a woman standing in the doorway of room 13, or something wearing a woman's shape. She wore a white nightgown from another era, soaked through, clinging to a body that was too thin, bones pressing against skin like they wanted to break free. Her hair hung in wet ropes. Her feet were bare and dripping.
But it was her eyes that made Rosa's bladder almost let go. Empty, not in color. They had color, dark brown like Rosa's own, but empty in the way a house is empty after everyone has died and the memories have rotted away. I need towels, the woman said. Yes, Rosa stammered. Si, señora. I'll get... I've been so cold, the woman continued, like Rosa hadn't spoken. So cold for so long, since the water filled my lungs, since he held me under, since I stopped fighting. She took a step forward. Water pooled where her foot touched tile. He said we'd be happy here. He said this hotel was the start of our new life. Room 13, lucky number, he said. Trece, our new beginning. Another step. Rosa backed away, hit the wall. But he lost money, mucho dinero, to bad men who wanted payment, and I was the payment he offered, young, pretty, worth something to men with appetites. The woman's face didn't change expression, but tears ran down her cheeks. Or maybe it was just water. Her whole body seemed to be weeping. I said no. I fought. So he put me in the bathtub and held me down until I stopped fighting, until the water filled me up and I became water myself. She was close now, so close Rosa could smell her, chlorine and rust and something sweet and rotten, like flowers left too long in a vase. They sealed the room after, painted over the number, pretended it never existed. But I exist. I exist in the water in the pipes, in every shower, every sink, every toilet in this building. I exist in the moisture in the air when it rains. I exist.
Lo siento, Rosa whispered. I'm so sorry for what happened to you, but, por favor, I have a daughter. I had a daughter. The woman's voice cracked like breaking ice. For the first time, emotion crossed her face. Rage and grief twisted together into something that didn't look human anymore. I had a daughter, 3 years old, 3 años. He told her I left, abandoned her. She grew up believing her mother didn't love her enough to stay. She died in 1994, thinking I chose to leave her. The lights in the hallway began to flicker. Water started seeping from under every door, running down the walls, dripping from the ceiling. The building itself was crying. Everyone who stays in this hotel I visit, the woman said. Everyone who sleeps here, I stand beside their bed and watch them dream. I want them to feel what it's like to drown in your own home, to die in a place that promised safety. But I'm not a guest, Rosa said, her voice cracking. I'm just working here. I'm just trying to feed my daughter. Please." The woman tilted her head. Water ran from her mouth. "Your daughter. What's her name?" "Lupita. She's 7. She likes to draw. Animals, mostly. She wants to be a veterinarian." Something shifted in the woman's empty eyes, a flicker of something that might have been memory. "I used to draw. Before. When I was alive and the world made sense." The water stopped flowing. The light steadied. The temperature, which had dropped until Rosa could see her breath, began to creep back toward normal. "Go. Take your daughter far from borders and hotels and men who make promises. Go, before this place makes you into water too." Rosa ran.
She quit that night, called Don Esteban from her car, told him to mail her check. She never went back, not even to collect the jacket she'd left in the office. But here's what she told me, compa, the part that keeps her up at night, even now, 6 months later. Last week, Lupita took a shower. When she came out, her hair was dripping wet, obviously, normal, except she said something that made Rosa's blood freeze. "Mamá, who was the sad lady standing in the shower with me?" Rosa ran to the bathroom. Nothing. Empty. Just steam and water circling the drain. But on the mirror, someone had drawn a picture in the condensation. A woman holding a little girl's hand. Stick figures, the way a child would draw. Or the way someone who barely remembered being human might draw. Underneath, written in water, "Gracias." Rosa scrubbed that mirror until her hands bled. But sometimes, when the bathroom gets steamy, when the moisture gathers just right, she says she can still see it, the woman and the child, together in the fog. Hotel Destino is still open, compa. Still takes cash, still doesn't ask questions. There's still no room 13 on the floor plan, but the room exists. The door is there, and inside, someone is waiting, hoping the next person who opens that door is the man who drowned her, the man who's still alive, still running, still thinking he got away with it. The water remembers. The water is patient, and eventually, everyone has to take a shower. If you ever find yourself in Matamoros, compa, and you need a cheap place to stay, keep driving. The money you save isn't worth what you might bring home in your suitcase, in your hair, in your lungs. Some debts get paid in water, and some ghosts don't just haunt. They collect.